Most people think getting rich looks a certain way. A big salary, a new car every few years, a house that makes people say, wow, when they pull into the driveway. But here's what nobody tells you. The people who are actually building wealth, most of them don't look wealthy at all. They drive the same car for 10 years, they pack lunch, they don't post their net worth on Instagram. And the strangest part? They don't even feel rich while it's happening. If you've ever looked at your life and thought, I'm doing the right things, saving, cutting back, investing, so why doesn't it feel like it's working? This video is for you, because today I'm going to show you 7 quiet signs that wealth is building in the background of your life, even when you can't see it yet, even when it feels slow, boring, and invisible. Here's the truth no one says out loud. Getting rich doesn't feel like getting rich, not while it's happening. It feels like skipping the impulse buy. It feels like saying no when everyone else says yes. It feels like making the boring, uncomfortable choice today so your future self doesn't have to struggle. The richest people don't wait until they feel wealthy to act wealthy. They do the work first. The money shows up later. So let's get into it. Sign 1. You have breathing room and you don't talk about it. You are not scrambling at the end of the month. You're not doing mental math every time you fill up your tank. You don't dread the last week before payday. There's money sitting in your account that you don't need to touch. Maybe it's a small emergency fund. Maybe it's a few months of expenses. It might not feel like much, but that cushion, that is one of the most powerful things a person can build. Here's what most people miss. A financial buffer isn't just money. It's time. It's the ability to say no to a bad opportunity. It's the ability to survive a crisis without going into debt. It's the difference between reacting and choosing. Most people only realize the value of this after a crisis hits, a job loss, a medical bill, a broken down car, but you built yours before it came. And that's not luck. That's what someone quietly getting rich does. Sign 2. You're earning more, but you don't feel the urge to spend more. Think about it. Every time most people get a raise, a bonus, or a windfall, the money disappears within months. New phone, nicer apartment, better car. The lifestyle expands to swallow whatever came in. But you've stopped doing that. Maybe you got a raise recently and the first thought wasn't, what can I buy? It was, what can I do with this? Maybe you paid off debt. Maybe you increased your investment contribution. Maybe you just left it alone. This is called avoiding lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the most underrated signs of building real wealth. Here's why it matters so much. Wealth isn't built by how much you make, it's built by the gap between what you make and what you spend. Every time you resist the urge to upgrade, that gap widens, and that gap, that's your wealth engine. Most people around you probably have no idea what you actually earn, and that's exactly how quietly wealthy people like it. Sign 3. You've started playing a longer game. Most people are thinking about next week, the next paycheck, the next sale, the next quick win. But somewhere along the way, your thinking shifted. You're not chasing the hot stock tip your coworker mentioned. You're not looking for shortcuts. Instead, you're asking different questions. What will this be worth in 5 years? What habit, if I stuck to it for a decade, would change everything? You invest consistently even when the market is flat and boring. You build skills, you build relationships. You're okay with delayed rewards because you understand what patience actually buys.
And here's what that mindset is worth. Compound growth doesn't just apply to money. It applies to habits, knowledge, and reputation. Every long-term decision you make today is quietly stacking on top of the last one. That kind of thinking separates the people who look wealthy from the people who become wealthy. If you're thinking in decades, you're already doing what 90% of people won't. Sign 4. Your debt is going down, not up. Let me tell you something the finance world doesn't celebrate enough. Being debt-free, or even just becoming debt-free, is one of the most powerful forms of wealth there is. Because here's what debt actually is. It's the future version of you already spending money you haven't earned yet. Every month you carry debt, you're handing over a piece of your future freedom. But when the debt shrinks, something shifts. You don't just have more money, you have more oxygen, less stress at the end of the month, less dread when unexpected bills show up, less dependence on your employer's mood or your boss's approval. One of the most upvoted comments I've seen on videos like this one was a man who said at 68 years old, after everything, foreclosure, starting over, going back to work, the moment he paid off his last loan, he felt rich. Not because of what was in his account, because of what wasn't. If your debt is trending down, even slowly, you are quietly, powerfully getting richer. Sign 5. You've started valuing your time more than your money. When you're struggling financially, every decision is about price. You take the slower route because gas is cheaper. You do everything yourself because hiring someone costs money you don't have. But something quietly changes as wealth builds. You start paying for convenience without guilt. You hire someone to handle the task that would take you 4 hours. You pay a little more for the thing that saves you an afternoon. This isn't about being lazy. This is one of the clearest signs of a wealth mindset shift. Truly wealthy people don't just have money, they have time, and they understand that protecting their time is how they keep building. Every hour you free up is an hour you can spend thinking, creating, resting, or being present with people who matter. Here's the line I want you to remember. When you were broke, you traded time for money. When you start getting rich, quietly, slowly, you begin trading money for time, and that trade is one of the best investments you'll ever make. Sign 6. You've stopped obsessing over money, and that's a good thing. When people are financially struggling, money is always the main character. Every decision, lunch, rent, a haircut, becomes a financial calculation. The brain is always doing math, always stressed, always on alert. But something changes when the systems start working. You've automated your savings, you've set up your investments, you've handled the basics so reliably that money stops being a constant source of noise in your mind. You're not chasing the next credit card reward. You're not panicking about market dips. You're thinking about bigger things now, your family, your purpose, a project that excites you, the kind of legacy you want to leave behind. This shift from financial survival mode to financial background noise is one of the quietest signs that you've leveled up. Real wealth is boring. The account grows quietly, the habits run automatically, there's no drama. And that boredom, that's the sound of freedom building. Sign 7. You feel it in your chest before you see it in your account. This is the one most people miss entirely because it doesn't show up on a spreadsheet. It's the fact that you don't panic anymore. When something unexpected happens, the car, the medical bill, the bad month, you don't spiral, you don't lose sleep the way you used to. You handle it and you move on. It's a quiet, steady sense of okayness, not excitement, not flashy confidence, just peace. And peace is expensive. Most people in this world cannot afford it. They're stressed about money every single day, and that stress costs them health, relationships, and years of their life. But you've built something they haven't. Not just a savings account, not just a portfolio. You've built the internal experience of being financially stable, and that is worth more than any number on a screen.
Here's what one person in the comments of a video like this wrote, and it stuck with me. They said, "Wealth is not having to expose yourself to a manager's mood. That's it. That's freedom. That's what you're building toward. And if you're starting to feel even a little of that, even just the early edges of it, you are further along than you think." Here's the truth no one tells you. Wealth doesn't arrive with confetti. It doesn't come with a notification that says you made it. It doesn't feel like a jackpot. Most of the time, getting rich feels uneventful, quiet, even boring. It's the month you didn't overspend, the habit you kept when no one was watching, the payment you made toward debt when you could have spent it on something fun, the investment you left alone when everything in you wanted to check it. Those moments don't feel like victories, but they are. And if you've recognized even 2 or 3 of these signs in your own life, you're already on a path that most people never find. You're not just surviving, you're not just getting by, you're quietly building something that can't be taken from you. Not by a recession, not by a job loss, not even by a moment of doubt. So keep going, because if it doesn't feel like you're getting rich yet, you probably are, just quietly. If this video helped you see your own progress a little more clearly or made you realize you're doing better than you thought, give it a like. It helps this reach someone else who needs to hear it right now. For more insights on money, wealth building, and the hidden patterns behind financial success, subscribe to Fininvests and turn on the notification bell. And don't miss the next video. It could change the way you think about growing your wealth.